The drivers for an arms race in Northeast Asia are pretty clear. It's mainly territorial disputes in the maritime areas. For Japan and China, you've got the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands, which are close to Taiwan, and also another issue for them. And then with Japan and South Korea, you have Dokdo Takeshima, which is in the East Sea or the Sea of Japan. The three governments involved have adopted what most analysts see as quite strident positions on their territorial disputes. No one seems to be willing to give ground on this. In China, it's a major nationalistic agenda about territorial ambitions and about kind of core interests. The arrival of Shinzo Abe, or the re-arrival of Shinzo Abe in Tokyo, has also led to what people see as a kind of a more strident tone in its international dealings. And also in South Korea, the government of President Park is committed to not backing down on any areas of territorial dispute with its neighbours. If you look at all three countries, they are spending a lot of their military budgets on what you would see as amphibious or expeditionary capabilities or power projection capabilities. If we look at China, of course, we have things like Liaoning, the carrier that was commissioned last year, or sorry, in 2012. If you look at Japan, it's got its through-deck helicopter carriers, and it's also spending money on its Osumi-class LPDs. And South Korea is also spending money on its amphibious capabilities and on its navy generally. If we look at Japan as an example, previously Japan didn't have an amphibious force per se, but recently they've decided they're going to develop a Marine Corps. This is a new capability for them. They didn't want it before because it looked too offensive, and of course Japan is constitutionally banned from having any offensive forces. If we look at China, China has really developed its Marine Corps, and they have real capabilities that they can use. They have direct fire amphibious landing vehicles. They have these Type 71 amphibious landing ships, which are very capable. And as I've said, South Korea has the Dokdo class, which is an amphibious ship that is really capable and gives it a chance to defend outlying islands. A lot of the evidence for the argument that there might be an arms race going on in Northeast Asia is that each country is spending a lot more. But if you actually look at the figures, really military expenditure is kind of flatlining for countries like Japan, which have been accused of remilitarization by their neighbors. China, as a percentage of GDP, military spending is going down, even though of course its budget as a whole is going up. And then if we look at South Korea is spending more on its military capabilities, but that of course is things like the F-35 purchase, which we're expecting soon, and of course most of South Korea's military budget does really react to what's happening in North Korea. So if we do actually look at what's happening between these three countries, it's very difficult to say that there's an arms race going on in the traditional sense. What we are seeing is a build-up of military capabilities that could be used in some kind of engagement or confrontation, especially in a maritime sphere. Now that's a problem, obviously, because we're also talking about three of the most important economies in the world and one of the real economic kind of giants in terms of regionally. Northeast Asia is a massive part of the world in terms of economic power. So anything that leads to what you would call a breakdown in lines of communication or economic activity in that part of the world would be a problem globally.